Welcome to the Properties to Profit podcast. I'm Michael, your host. Excited to share with you my journey from a six-figure job to building a successful real estate business. Each episode will explore various aspects of real estate investing, from wholesaling and flipping to managing rentals. I'll share the lessons and insights I've gained, aiming to help you avoid mistakes and achieve your financial goals. Expect guest experts, valuable tips, and practical advice to guide you on your own real estate journey. Thank you for tuning in. If you find any value in this podcast, please subscribe, share, and follow me on social media. Let's turn properties into profits together. Hey guys, Michael here with Properties to Profits. And today I want to talk to you about what to do when a seller just goes ghost on you. What happens when they just stop communicating to you? If you've done enough deals, this is going to happen. And so I want to prepare you with several ways to handle it. And so we're going to walk you through a couple ways we've had success handling it, and some ways we hadn't had success. So at its very core, what we will do when we haven't heard from a seller is we'll just shoot a text and be like, hey, is everything okay? Right? And then from there, next text is, oh my gosh, what did we do wrong? Right? We're trying to garner some attention from them that they make a decision to reach back out to us so we can start communicating with them. If from there it doesn't work, we send a certified letter that they have to sign on, right? And all the letter states here is, hey, we're just looking to get a hold of you. Hope everything's okay. Let us know what's going on. If for whatever reason you're not wanting to sell the house anymore, just give us a call. Once we can get them on the phone, we can have a conversation. Well, two instances, those didn't work. Every other time the letters worked like a charm. They call us back. I'm so sorry. I just don't check my voicemail, whatever the case might be. The letter on both these other occasions didn't work, right? So the particular case, the house was about an hour and a half towards Cleveland from here in Columbus, Ohio. And we were kind of like, oh, do we drive up there? We're like, man, it's a 4-hour drive. Yeah, it's a big deal, but what can we do? So we call around to some local businesses there, and he's like, oh, yeah, I know that lady. She's lived there for like 40 years, but I don't want to spook her. Like, he's like, I'm this big guy. If I showed up at her door, I might scare her. I'm not looking to do that. He's like, why don't you call the non-emergency? We're like, duh, right? So we call the non-emergency number. They go check out this property. They do a walk around, don't see anything. They call us. Hey, what do you want us to do? We just want to hear from her. She's a 90-year-old lady, and we're concerned. So they go ahead and knock on the door. And after 10 minutes, she comes to the door, and she's like, can I help you? And they're like, yeah, Oasis Homebuyers is trying to get a hold of you. And she's like, oh, yeah, I've been waiting for their call. And we're like, we've been calling you. We sent you a letter. She's like, oh, I never got it. Well, the postage stamps were on her door because she never goes to the front door. And so the cop calls us. He's like, hey, everything's okay. And they're like, she says she's never called you. I was like, this is interesting. Are we sure her phone's on? Like, I remember my grandma sometimes had phone issues. Cop asked her to go get her phone. Well, she had turned do not disturb on and didn't know it. And didn't know how to turn it off. So the cop was able to turn it off, and she was able to call us, and we were able to have a conversation and get the closing set up. Side note, this lady was a badass because after closing, she had given up possession, and she's like, there's one more thing I want to go grab. Can I go get it? I'm like, oh, we've already changed the locks. She's like, I know how to get in the house. This 90-year-old lady just climbs through a window. She's like, I've lived here 50 years. I know how to get in. So side note, don't think these sellers don't know how to figure things out when they want to. It's just got to be important to them. So I want you guys to know is go that extra mile. Just because the seller is ghosting you doesn't mean that they don't want to sell you this house. A lot of times they're in so much distress and other problems going on in their life that they don't know how to just turn on their phone and turn off do not disturb. It could literally be something that small. So don't overthink this when this happens, okay, guys? It is not always a big deal why they're not getting back to you. Sometimes it's as little as they didn't know how to turn off Do Not Disturb. The second one is here local to Columbus. We showed up at the house. We're actually legitimately more worried about the seller. He is in his late 70s and doesn't look great. And he's got like 4 or 5 like high school or young 20-year-olds living with him who just don't look like someone I would want my family to live with. And so we're super nervous. So we are doing a wellness check on them tomorrow, and I'll keep you updated. So once again, to recap, send out a text, just like assuming you did something wrong, and see if they respond that way. Same thing with a voicemail. Then send a letter. It doesn't need to be a mean letter, just a really nice letter saying, hey, hope everything's okay. We've been trying to get a hold of you. Give us a call here. We want to talk. That works like a charm. And then from there, do a wellness check. Call the local authorities on a non-emergency number. Do not call 911 unless you know it to be emergency. And just say, hey, we're looking to buy this property. We haven't heard from the seller. We're getting a little bit nervous that something might be up. And they'll go check them out and let you know what's going on, so that you can have some assurance that things are okay. The main takeaway I want you guys to have here is don't always assume that something's wrong. There are a lot of times these sellers are just lost in day-to-day and forget to reach back out to us. And if you're not touching base with them regularly, this is why you want to touch base with them regularly, so you can catch those gaps and then really be there. And so it just comes down to serving your customer, serving the seller in this case, making sure that you're solving their problems and doing everything in your power to figure out what's going on. Just not assuming that anything went wrong and trying to solve everything that could come up. So that's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys get a little tidbit. That's been a powerful lesson for us. That's helped us. The one assignment that we called non-emergency, it was like a $32,000 deal, I believe. So that's a pretty good deal. So, all right, guys, if you guys could go share this episode to my Instagram, tag me realestatemike02, or on Facebook. My Facebook is just Michael Smith. Appreciate y'all. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to the Properties for Profit podcast. I hope you found today's episode valuable. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and share it with others who might benefit. Follow me on social media for more updates and tips. Until next time, keep turning properties into profits.